and welcome back to another Giant Slayer TFT Top 10 video. Today's video will be a countdown of the top champions for ranked play in patch 10.8. Our analysts will be diving into why each champion is great in the current meta. Keep in mind that these champions are meant to be viable in multiple ways, so any champion that has specific requirements to do well will not be on the list. This list is also not in order of strength, as each champion is viable in different situations. With that said, let's get into the video. But before we begin, please don't forget to click the links in our description. Give your support to everyone who helped make this video happen. We host many TFT tournaments with plenty of exciting content to come, so be sure to also follow our Giant Slayer TFT social media pages. To start off the list, we have old Graves coming in at number 10. Graves has continually done well as a utility champion throughout different stages of the game, so it's about darn time he gets a spot in our top 10 list. Most of his strength does come from his ultimate, since it's such a great ability to shut down enemy carries or any champion with high attack speed. Outside of his ultimate, he has okay damage and health, and both of his traits are useful in the right situation. Early game Space Pirates can do well and earn you a bit of extra gold, which is always welcome. Graves also pairs well with early cybernetics with Lucian to give 2 blasters. All in all, he's got a lot of strength for a 1-cost champion. Next up is the number 9 champion on the list, Jarvan. Here's another 1-cost champion that you'll want to consider picking up early. Jarvan is generally thrown in as fodder for Darkstar, but don't let that fool you into thinking he's not useful. Early on in the game, he boosts pretty much your whole team, as you're usually going to position everything in range of his ultimate. Getting a Jarvan 2 and having a sudden increase of 75% attack speed is nuts to increase not only the damage output of your units, but also how quickly they gain mana. You're likely going to sell him later in the game, which is fine, but early game, he's a worthwhile consideration since your goal is usually to win streak. The last 1-cost champion on the list is Zaya, coming in at number 8. She's returning again because gosh darn it, she's just a great carry for physical damage items. While she was good in previous metas, she's even better in 10.8 after receiving a 25% increase to her ultimate for both her 1 and 2-star versions. Basically, give her items early game and let her do work, and you're increasing your chances of win streak by a good margin. Items to consider are Infinity Edge, Static Shiv, and Rage Blade. Outside of early game, she does have a place in the later game to provide Celestial and Blade Master in a Kale carry composition, though she's mostly there as a trait bot more than anything else. We can't have one Space Pirate on the list without another, right? That means Darius is here as the number 7 pick on the list. He's on the list for slightly different reasons than Graves, because where Graves is more for utility, Darius is for doing damage and, well, dunking. He was buffed again in 10.8 to have his total mana now be 60, making it easier for him to get his ultimate off earlier in the fight. As long as you position him away from hard to kill targets, his chances of getting kills and resetting are quite high, especially if you give him items. AP items do well on him, so you can use him as an item holder before you transition into other compositions later. Items such as Death Cap, Jeweled Gauntlet, Seraphs, Chalice of Favor, and Ionic Spark all do well on him. Also, make sure to pair him with Graves or Jace to get that sweet pirate gold. Lucian is returning to the list once again and dashes himself into the number 6 spot. Lucian has been consistent every patch so far, as despite nerfs to him and cybernetics, he's still a fantastic mid-game carry because of his versatile traits, good damage, and high mobility. Whether you're using him to hold on to Kale items, playing him for cybernetics, or blaster brawler, his potential to carry is crazy throughout the early and mid-game. Red buff is still by far the best item for him though. As mentioned, you can give him items for other champions and sell him later and rebuy him even if you'd like. He does work best when paired with early cybernetics and one other blaster, but it's generally not too difficult to find those most games. That combination of champions is still at the top for helping you to get that early win streak. For our number 5 pick on the list, let's step away from damage-based champions and talk about a utility-focused champion, Lux. While she can still do good damage and it's possible to build her as a carry for Darkstar, she's primarily used for her ultimate CC. She's played in several compositions such as Darkstar, Star Guardian Sorcerer, and Mech Infiltrator. One of the best aspects of Lux is being able to manipulate her ultimate via positioning, as it always hits the furthest away champion. Generally, you'll keep her in the corner, but you have the ability to maneuver her into different spots on the board if needed. Another common place is near the front line when playing her in Darkstar, so that she can get at least one cast of her ultimate off before being killed to boost the other Darkstar champions. Overall, she's one of the more versatile champions in the entire set. Alright, the number 4 champion on this list may be a bit controversial due to the nerfs to him in the B patch, but Shaco is still doing well despite being whacked with the nerf bat. He's certainly less scary than he was previously, but when given full items and 3-starred, he's still a force to be reckoned with and can hard carry games. While he is reliant on being played with either either Darkstar or Mech Infiltrator, don't let that dissuade you from picking him up early and playing him. Even just on his own he can do work, and when given a Bloodthirster, Guardian Angel, and Infinity Edge, his ability to carry goes up tremendously. Now more than ever does he need to be 3-star to truly shine in the late game, but even if you only keep him at 2 stars as a secondary carry, he will still do well. All in all, Shaco looks like he's going to stay in the meta, even with the continual nerfs. Up next is the number 3 champion on the list, Kayle. Kayle and Irelia feel like they could both be on this list, but Irelia is a bit more item dependent to carry than Kayle, and that's why Kayle gets to take a spot. While she does have ideal items, you can generally give her different items every game and she'll do well. These can be items such as Rage Blade, Rapid Fire Cannon, Guardian Angel, Death Cap, Static Shiv, and Morellonomicon. Her main downside is you need to protect her as she needs time to pop off in the team fight, but there are several builds that use her as the carry, which combined with flexible items makes her an incredibly versatile champion. Keep in mind that she's one of the strongest picks in the Lilac Nebula Galaxy, meaning she'll be a carry at all stages of the game. Another champion returning to the list is Lulu, coming in at number 2. Lulu continues her reign as the best late game standalone champion to play. Due to her ultimate providing such good CC, as well as making it easy to splash in Mystic or Celestial, will likely always make her a viable option. Most builds in the late game tend to add in Lulu, so if that doesn't speak to how useful she is, then nothing will. She also doesn't need to be given items to do well, which is rare, though she will do even better if you give her tier items. Another bonus to running her is there's a few compositions that want Celestial splashed in at level 8 or 9, so you can often get 2 traits splashed in just by playing the single Lulu. In Darkstar, for example, you get Celestial and Mystic since that build already is running Ashe and Karma. All in all, Lulu is a great champion to consider playing in the late game. And the number 1 champion on the list is Thrash. Thrash, like Lulu, is quite useful to play in the late game. He will artificially boost how many champions you can have on board via his ultimate, which can be crucial to winning late game fights. Beyond that, his traits are commonly played in quite a few builds, as multiple builds use Chrono or Mana Reaver. Mana Reaver was super strong after it was changed and can often be a win condition late game when you get the Thrash in. Another benefit of Thrash, similar to Lulu, is that he doesn't need any items to do well. Find him and throw him onto your board and he'll do work. That is going to be it for the top 10 list, but as always, we can't let you go just yet because we have to talk about our honorable mentions. Let's begin with talking about the newest champion added to set 3, Xerath. Honestly, it seems like Xerath hasn't been fully figured out yet and has been mostly relegated to being played in only Darkstar. Because of that, he's not currently quite as flexible as the other champions in the top 10, but time will tell how he does in future metas. A plus for Xerath is that he doesn't seem to be too reliant on any specific items and can do well with any magic-based items such as Seraphs, Death Cap, and especially Rage Blade. Definitely keep an eye out for this champion in your games and try exploring ways you can utilize him in the late game. Next up is a pair of champions that you're unlikely to see one without the other, Neeko and Syndra. While Syndra was nerfed in the B patch, she is still doing well as the main carry for Star Guardian Sorcerer. But as we talked about in the last top 10 champion list, she along with Neeko are just too darn item dependent to be in the top 10 list despite being in one of the top builds in the current meta. Especially with Syndra's mana going up to 65 from 50, she really needs tier-based items to do well. These two champions are cornerstones for Star Guardian Sorcerer, but are limited by their need for specific items and also being in a specific composition. Another pair of champions that require specific circumstances to do well are Master Yi and Yasuo. These two are played in a build that's known as the Super Slash Bros, since they are the focal point of said build. Master Yi in particular is the main carry, with Yasuo being the brother that swoops in to assist. But the downside is these two are heavily reliant on being 3-starred, and Master Yi really needs specific items to truly carry. These items are Rage Blade and Quicksilver, with the third item being a little bit more flexible, though Rapid Fire Cannon is a fantastic choice. Without those first two items, it's unlikely for Yi to hard carry enough for this composition to get above a 4th place. That reliance on items along with a specific composition is why they're in the honorable mentions, but don't let that prevent you from trying them out. With the nerfs to Darkstar and Star Guardian Sorcerer, the Super Slash Bros composition has become a much more viable build in the current meta. One last champion to talk about for our honorable mentions is Jhin. Jhin is is still as item reliant as he ever was and is mainly played in Darkstar, but with Shaco getting nerfed, Jhin is now usually the primary carry for Darkstar. You'll still want to give him items like Infinity Edge, Runins, and either Guardian Angel or another defensive item such as Trap Claw. But despite requiring specific items, he's doing well in the current meta as a strong carry for Darkstar, so if you were sad to see nerfs to that build, you don't have to worry as Jhin is still there to carry. Alright folks, that is it for today's video. Let us know in the comment section below just what your thoughts are on this list and if there's any champions you think deserve to be on it. Thank you for watching, and if you're enjoying our content, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button for future Giant Slayer TFT videos.